What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back for another review of SISTAS. This is the episode titled Showing Out. I believe this may have been episode 3 or 4. Can't really remember. But let's go ahead and jump right into the review. So we start this episode off with Hudson confronting Andy because she is showing up at the hospital and baby, Hudson is not here for it, okay? Like, she trying to tell him, oh no, lower your tone. We're at the hospital. Now, I will say this. He wasn't getting loud with her, but he was definitely standing on business, okay? Because she was trying to see Gary, and he was like, nah, you not about to see no parts of Gary. We know who you are. And baby, he was over her. So then we see this random security guard who's supposed to be guarding Gary's door, but he's definitely not on his job. And Hudson is telling him, like, listen, don't you let Andy come through here. And the man's like, oh, well, she's supposed to be his fiance. Baby, that don't matter because we learned that Hudson has Gary's power of attorney. So whatever he wants goes. Bye, Andy. Doesn't look like you're going to be seeing Gary anytime soon. Next thing you know, we jump on over to Robin and Fatima, right? Now, he's questioning her as to what are all these phone calls that she's making at the front desk. My whole thing is, girl, why are you doing all of this at the front desk when you have your own office? Like, make it make sense. So then Robin, he goes on to explain to Fatima how, he has Andy's best interest. And I'm just like, this is crazy that you have to explain this to Fatima. Like, at one point, she tells him how she wants to have like an honest conversation with him and then asks the receptionist to leave. And I'm just like, no, how about you and Robin walk away because that lady's doing her job. Nonetheless, she goes on to talk about how she knows about the past between Robin and Andy and all of this stuff. Like, at this point, I really want Fatima to go sit down somewhere. Fatima, you doing way too much. And y'all know I like Fatima's character. But I just feel like she's so invested and involved with what Andy got going on. Girl, go focus on you. Please go focus on you. Like, why are you questioning Robin about where his whereabouts are? Talking about, oh yeah, because, it's interesting that you came back in town after Gary got stabbed. And girl, I don't think that Robin did it. It was just very weird. This whole scene was weird to me. So then, Robin, he's trying to prove to Fatima, that he's there for Andy. And I'm like, why are you doing this, sir? Then they get on the topic of Hayden. And, Fatima's like, Robin, I don't even understand why you hired Hayden to take over Andy's spot when he doesn't even have the qualifications. But according to Robin, he wants Fatima to basically be a spy and check and see what Hayden has going on to make sure that he's not doing anything sketchy. Child, a mess. So at this point, Fatima finally realizes that Hayden is actually going to be her boss. Now, we move on over to Danny and Tony, right? They're at the airport. Tony has signed her up for this new program, something about a new leadership role, at her job. And Danny's pissed off. First of all, it's not a paid training, and Danny is pissed off about this. Now, I'm sorry, but I do understand where Danny's coming from. I understand both sides. You have Tony who's trying to do, something nice, got her into a program when the deadline had already passed. He probably wrote a great referral about her. And at the end of the day, he wants Danny to reach her full potential. I understand that. However, should this have been a conversation with Danny? Absolutely. Should have been a conversation. Also, you know how she is about her life right now. All she want to do is go to work, smoke her vape, and go home. Oh, and also sleep with her man. Besides that, she don't want to do no more. So you should have known when that thing said no paid training, she wasn't going to be interested. Be so for real. Now, moving on from that, we go back to Fatima and Hayden, right? Again, where's she at? Still standing outside. Girl, go to your office. So he is, of course, rubbing it in her face that he is now her boss. And, he can't wait for Andy to get let go from the company. And then next thing you know, Zach shows up. I said, why are you here? You hardly ever show up to the office. What is going on? Now, I guess that he brought some food for Fatima or whatever. But still, Zachary, why are you here? So we do see a little back and forth between them. And then, Zach is basically informed that Hayden is the new boss. Now, Hayden, he's ready for Zach to leave. He's trying to kick Zach out or whatever by saying some slick stuff like he always do. Like, honestly, this whole scene was unnecessary if you ask me. I didn't really need it, but we gonna go ahead and move on. Y'all, we finally see Maurice, right? So Maurice and Sabrina are at the bank, and I thought it was interesting that Maurice was describing the ladies as the cast of Set It Off. I was like, okay, so funny. Maurice, he basically feels like Gary deserves everything that's coming to him because of how he acted at that baby shower. And we all know Gary acted up at that baby shower, okay? Now here comes Paige. Okay, she's so pissed off or whatever, and basically she got word that somebody tried to get her fired, and we already know who it was. We already know that it was Maurice. And here's the thing. I really don't care about that storyline. Like, I do not care about little Miss Paige at the bank. So we gonna go ahead and move on. Now, we get back to Tony and Danny. He trying to convince her about this being a good program and how this could really elevate her career. However, Daniela is content with where she at, okay? Now, Tony, he actually ends up mentioning how the other ladies that are a part of the SISTAS, they have upgraded in their careers. And he did not lie. Because according to this show, everybody has upgraded. You have Karen, she just got a whole new fancy salon. Sabrina, she got an upgrade in management. She took a higher position. Andy, she supposedly is going to make partner. So yeah, Daniela, it's your turn to finally upgrade in life. And baby, she don't want no parts of it. And honestly, I feel like, of course, Danny is the type of person that gets in her own way. To the point where she even explained to him that, she's not that kind of woman. Okay? She's content with where she at. And honestly, this could have just been a conversation. Okay? Had he not signed her up and brought up the program to her, like, hey, there's a program to help you, move on to upper management, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think that maybe she would have taken it better instead of him just automatically signing her up. Because we all know that Danny has an issue with people trying to do stuff for her. You know what I'm saying? But let's go ahead and move on. All right, so after that, I believe we go back to Andy and Hudson. Y'all, Hudson done whipped out the paperwork to show that he's power of attorney. So at that point, Andy has to leave. All right, cool. As she's about to leave, Hudson decides to change his mind and be like, all right, you can go see Gary. Like, what was all of this for then? Like, this is really stupid. Like, I don't understand what all of this was for, Hudson. Now, we go back over to Fatima and Zach, right? I kind of forgot that he even came to the office. Fatima is telling him how she's questioning everything about Robin and, what's going on with his timing. How is it that he came back in town now that Gary got stabbed? And I'm just like, Fatima, please, go find something to do. So then Hayden ends up coming back and he's like, listen, I'm about to call security because Zach ain't supposed to be here. We already know that he don't like Zach. Fatima, you already done got into it with the big boss, Robin. So I'm not understanding why you keep avoiding to do your work. Like, at this point, I just want her to go do her actual job. Now, we move on over to the salon, and Pam is trying to rush Karen into finishing this business plan, right? Now, Karen is trying to tell her, like, listen, it takes time to fully, write the full scope of your business plan. Now, here comes an unruly customer, right? Because according to her, Roots to Riches has messed up her head. I said, oh God. Roots to Riches has barely got off the ground, and here come the people who said it messed up their head. All right, here we go. Now, we jump back over to Danny and Tony, right? Now, at this point, they're making a scene, okay? And what's bothering me is that I feel like, Tony, you have a whole office that you could call Daniela into. I'm not understanding why you are so adamant about having this conversation in public. Like, it does not make sense. I hate the way Tony and Danny operate around the airport to begin with. But this right here, with this whole little scene, I was over it. Because you could have absolutely pulled her to the side and said, you know what? We're going to have this conversation in a different room. Because you call her into a different room when you want to sleep with her at the job. So I'm not understanding why you can't pull her into a separate room to have this conversation. Now, one thing about Danny is that she feels like he is overstepping yet again. And I must say, she is not lying. You can't sign somebody up for a program that you don't know what their response is going to be towards it. Like, all because you think it's a good idea don't mean that she thinks it's a good idea. But whatever. We're going to go ahead and move on. Because we have Maurice, he ends up checking on Sabrina, right? Now, she is extremely stressed out, okay? Because she already got through the interrogation earlier in that morning. Now Sabrina is kind of going through, like, some internal feelings. Because she feels like, she's always been a good person. She's always been the person to follow the rules. And she keeps getting the short end of the stick. And honestly, Sabrina, you're not lying. You are very by the book, while, some of your homegirls would rather cut corners. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, being the rule follower, sometimes it does seem like life is not on your side. Okay? Because Sabrina goes on to talk about how, she wants to be the main character. She's tired of always being the afterthought in everybody's life. And I will say this, that within this moment, I did enjoy seeing Maurice be the supportive friend to Sabrina. Like, he just listened to her and, he gave her some positive things to think about. But I must say, Sabrina absolutely plays the side character. She's never main character. Even when she was in prison. Well, she wasn't in prison, but even when she was in jail, she was still playing side character. It has never been a moment where it has really been about Sabrina. And I'm hoping that some things shake up soon. Now, moving on from that, we go back to the salon, right? Oh my gosh. This lady is hooting and hollering, okay? She is going on and on about how her edges are gone. Acting a complete fool, okay? She's starting a live on her phone. She going live, talking about how Roots to Riches messed up her hair, doing the absolute most at this point. And her solution to the situation is that she needs to be paid $400,000. Girl, bye. Like, come on now. So unrealistic of a number. Now, moving on from that, we see Andy. She finally goes into the room to see Gary. Y'all, she out here crying and reminiscing about their relationship. Baby, next thing you know, this man opened up his eyes and have a seizure. I said, you know what? We need to go ahead and wrap these two up so bad. Like, I am drained of the Andy and Gary saga. Please let it go. But y'all, that was the episode. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.